Always a pleasure to be joined by former world champion Shawn Porter. Shawn, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing just fine, man. Just fine.
Listen, great event.
Beautiful event.
Great event here.
Absolutely.
Who's that, Daniel?
Daniel,
Jacobs.
Jacobs,
Great
yeah.
fighter, man. Yeah, but great event. Listen, Riyadh season are putting on not just good shows, massive boxing events as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Riyadh season has really come in, and I think that they've gotten the boxing community's eye, and they're making some big things happen.
They're making some big moves, man. We're getting modern legacies, the best fighting the best, and all of that. But Shawn, I want to get straight into it. You're here in England. You've been sparring Mr. Conor Benn.
We did 3 rounds today, all right? Calm down, 3 rounds. I'm not coming back, especially if I got to fight that young man. But a talent, man. Honestly, a talent.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, you look in great shape still, man. And for you to get in the ring,
that's why I keep the suits on, okay?
Come on.
Keep the suits on because you won't be able to see how out of shape I am. But getting in the ring with Conor Benn and only being able to do 3 rounds today, I told him, I said, yo, I got to come back. I said, I was only able to get in 3 rounds. That's not good enough for me. I embarrassed myself. I'll see you soon. He was good with it.
Come on. Give me a little bit more, mate. How did them 3 rounds go?
He looked great. Great. Really good boxer, man. Much more, he's more athletic than I knew he was, and a little faster than I knew he was, too. So, good boxer.
Chris Eubank Jr. obviously campaigning at 160, been there the whole time. The fight's made at 160. Conor's down at 147 coming up. How much of a factor is that?
Not a factor at all. For me, the way I look at it, Conor would be the healthier fighter on fight night. He didn't have to
drain himself
and not eat or drink the healthy good things for him that he would need on fight night. I'm not saying that we're all drained when we go into the ring on fight night. We're all at a deficit. I'm not saying that. However, when you have to pull off 15 pounds or 20 pounds or something like that, usually you don't have it all on fight night, So that's just kind of how it goes. But Conor, on the other hand, and he's gonna have to lose some weight too, but not as much, and he won't be draining himself.
Let's talk a little bit about the rehydration clause. Now, IBF champion, you've been IBF champion, so you know all about that. 10 pounds, will it play a factor in this fight with Chris Eubank Jr., who maybe struggles a little bit more than he used to when he was younger at 160?
That clause will play a factor in any fighter, depending on how that fighter, number one, lost the weight and how that fighter chooses to put on the weight. I don't want to make this a whole health thing, but you lose the weight slowly, then you put it on slowly. A lot of fighters lose it fast, and they're like, oh no, I'm already 9 pounds up. That's because you put it back on fast, And then, of course, the other side of that is you want to rehydrate, you want to hydrate properly as well. So it could be a factor on fight night, but it all depends on how both these fighters manage their weight and the nutrition.
Let's fast forward to February the 22nd, this huge fight going on, probably the best card that I've known since I've been around in boxing, stacked from top to bottom. You look at it, Beterbiev and Bivol 2. Let's start there. How do you see that one going?
I thought Bivol won the first fight, disclaimer. I thought that Bivol did everything he needed to do to win the first fight, disclaimer. I want to answer to any fan that might say, oh, he ran, every time he got punched, he got on his bike. That's nature. That's what you're supposed to do. If somebody comes at you right now and hits you, you're going to take a step or two back, analyze what's going on, and make a decision, I thought Bivol fought smart. However, he lost the first fight. I think he might lose the second fight. Listen, in rematches, you usually come to the ring better. Bivol's best, in a lot of ways, wasn't enough.
Yeah.
He's coming to the ring better, but so is Beterbiev. Beterbiev missed a couple punches in that first one. I think he's going to land him in the second one. He might get him out of there in this one.
I want to talk to you about someone that's on the undercard that I think is a great fighter and will go on to be pound for pound number 1, Shakur Stevenson. What a fighter he is, going against Floyd Schofield.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about Shakur and the fight.
Shakur is a great fighter. Actually did a couple of rounds with him earlier this week.
Anyone you ain't sparring right now?
Nah, I'm not sparring most of the world, so don't call me. But he's a talent. I think that right now is not a good time for Schofield. I think Schofield still got some learning to do, some growing to do. We'll see. Kid is still explosive. The kid still has some good moves. And this is boxing, only takes one punch. But Shakur, usually you don't land that one punch,
Yeah,
you know.
sure.
So it's gonna be a good boxing match, top to bottom, regardless.
Listen, there's been talk of putting Shakur in with ranking up with the likes of Floyd Mayweather. That possibly he could be the kid that goes on to be as good as Floyd. Does he have that talent?
He does. And listen, let's remind everybody that when Floyd was this young, Floyd was not boxing this kind of style. So you get a Shakur that has probably looked up to that style as a youth, has adopted that style as a youth, and has really honed in on a counter-punching style with a rhythm that is one of its own. He causes every fighter to fight at his pace, which is amazing. And, you can definitely put him in the conversation with a Floyd Mayweather.
Great fighter, man. Daniel Jacobs, great fighter back in his day, man.
Yeah.
Shame he's gone. Shame he's gone. Do you think he looks a little bit, he reminds me a little bit of Will Smith, you know that? He looks a little bit like that.
I got to give that to you. If you put some, if you dressed up, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, but with some, it's hard to say, but I'll agree.
Yeah. There's a similarity or something there. I don't know
no
why
way to say it, but I give it just the ears.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Look, I want to move on to the heavyweights just quickly. Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. Both rebirthed in many ways. A lot of people rip both of those guys off. You look at Joseph Parker, was world champion back in 2016. Had those couple of losses, you think that could be the end of the road. He's bounced back unbelievably well against Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang.
I agree.
And you look at what Daniel Dubois has done with the recent times, that demolition of Anthony Joshua. I mean, what's your thoughts on both of those guys?
Both those guys. Listen, it's said a creed in boxing is heavyweights they mature the latest. Heavyweights have a big frame at a young age, but it takes a while for that brain and that physicality to catch up to the frame that they have. And I think that both gentlemen represent that statement very well, that it takes a little while longer for the heavyweights to get where a lot of the smaller weights can get to. And I think we see that in both those gentlemen. They just have matured in the last 2 or 3 years. They both have, I think, mentally answered some questions that they've had for themselves that we may not know those questions. And I think this fight for both of those guys, right on time. I also thought that the fight with Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua was right on time, and Daniel Dubois handled it.
Yeah. Who wins, by the way?
Daniel Dubois.
Daniel Dubois, there you go. Wow, brilliant. Well, listen, as always, my friend, great catching up with you. Always good speaking to you in the boxing, man.
Not shaking no hands tonight.
Come on. Let's do it. Yeah, no, it was brilliant, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.